People development, your career engine at Dürr. George Genius has ambitions. Same with the company Dürr. His current position, development engineer. George wants to progress in his career. His destination, a management career path. His path, Dürr's people development process. It's this easy. In the spring, George Genius has an open conversation with his boss, Mike Manager. Mike Manager has already recognized that George is meant for bigger and better things. So he nominates George for Dürr's people development process. Mike Manager has already entered all important data about George using the people development software tool. What was originally a routine feedback discussion between employee and supervisor has become a transparent process which can be tracked on the system at any time. The evaluation of George's competencies include all relevant information, such as his abilities and knowledge. And of course, the system includes George's strengths, as well as the areas where he needs to improve. George Genius and Mike Manager agree that George should take a path in professionally oriented and individually adapted training courses, which meet his needs while serving the company's interests. In addition, George would love to work in Brazil, so he needs to get started on learning Portuguese. Summer vacation is soon upon us. While George is relaxing on the beach, Mike Manager is discussing George's abilities with Hannah Head, Brian Boss and Mary Major at the local People Development Conference. Peggy Personnel from the HR department is also there. They exchange vital information concerning the talent profile of the candidates George Genius, Sophie Smart and Betty Better. In George's case, everyone agrees. He is confirmed as a candidate with high potential and should be included in the management succession program. The fact that George is globally mobile also has a positive impact on his worldwide management career. After all, some interesting management positions will be opening up at Dürr in the near future, with excellent perspectives. Precisely what George is looking for. George's file is passed on to the Corporate People Development's yearly conference, which handles succession planning for Dürr's management worldwide. Hetty Head, Boris Big Boss and Margaret Much Major are participating in the Corporate People Development Conference, together with Peter Promoter from Corporate HR. The committee is discussing George Genius, Sophie Smart, Betty Better and other identified high potential candidates. They examine George's skills very closely. After all, this is where the ratings for all high potentials come together. Even in this select circle, the attendees are convinced it's worth keeping an eye on George. He could be considered for a number of positions. George has made a big impression. Summer vacation is over and George Genius is pushing ahead with his plans. Mike Manager arranges a career discussion with George and confirms that he is on the right track. The next step is the International Management Program. George is back on the road again. He flies to Shanghai to take part in a management training course with Sophie Smart, Betty Better and other candidates. This allows him to develop his leadership skills and to network with colleagues from all over the world. That's good for Dürr and good for everyone involved. George enjoys the program and he is increasingly looking forward to taking on new responsibilities and to his future career at Dürr. The following spring, George and Mike sit down together again to discuss the progress George has made. George can now speak Portuguese reasonably well and has not given up on his plan to work in Brazil. Mike is very satisfied and convinced he made the right decision a year ago. In the meantime, things are happening at Dürr in Sao Paulo. Beatrice Buscar from the HR department in Brazil urgently needs to find an application engineering manager, as the present manager will soon be retiring. Let's see if she finds a suitable candidate within her own organization. Too bad, no one. So she asks Peter Promoter from Corporate HR. And soon she receives the details of George Genius, Sophie Smart and Betty Better, of course anonymously. Beatriz Buscar is impressed. One of the candidates can already speak Portuguese. He's the one she chooses. Now things start rolling. First, Peter Promoter informs Mike Manager and asks him for an assessment. Mike confirms that George Genius would be the ideal candidate. Peter Promoter talks to George Genius and encourages him to cross the pond. Enthusiastic about the offer, George prepares himself for the meeting with his Brazilian colleagues. And soon afterwards, George Genius is being successfully interviewed in Sao Paulo by Beatriz and his future boss, José Presidente. Enabling you to progress. People development by Dürr. Fit for a worldwide career.